When I started the fellowship back in 1983, it really was for the purpose of building bridges between the Jewish community and the nascent evangelical community that we weren't aware of, that was just really starting and growing. And my purpose was to build bridges of healing, of understanding after 2,000 years between these two communities. And secondly, to build a broad base of support for Israel and Jews in need and other common issues. The first concern that really came up was in the early 1990s when Jews were fleeing the former Soviet Union. With the fall of the former Soviet Union, 1.5 million Jews have come to Israel since that time. And many Christians came to me, because we had already been working for 10 years with the evangelical community, and they asked me what they can do to help. And at the time, the Israeli government and the Jewish Agency was having difficulty raising the funds to meet all the needs of all these this wave of Russian Jews, and so they welcomed my asking about bringing Christians into this process. And so for the first time, really, you had the phenomena of Christians helping the Jewish community to bring Jews from the former Soviet Union to safety and freedom, if you will, in Israel. And then that continued with the Ethiopian Jews and the Jews from India and various other Jewish communities that we continued with the help of and the finances of Christians to bring now close to 600,000 Jewish people from the world to Israel. When the Russians attacked in eastern Ukraine, suddenly you had, for the first time since World War II, you had Jewish refugees. You had thousands of Jews fleeing Donetsk, Lugansk, Mariupol, that whole area of eastern Ukraine, nowhere to go. And suddenly you find yourself with 2,600 Jewish refugees without a place to be. So what I'm saying is that these things emerged. The point is that security emerged because of the situation and the threats in Israel that required a whole shift in everyone's thinking. We were able to make that shift. But after the attacks in France, in Toulouse, and then in Nice, and after the attacks in Belgium, we again changed our strategy. What happened was that we began to fill the niche that has been absent there of security for Jews. As a rabbi and as a Jew who has been brought up Jewishly, the idea of Kol Yisrael Arevim Zeh Bazeh is paramount. All the Jewish people are connected and responsible for one another. It's terrible to Monday morning quarterback or whatever that metaphor is on what we could have done. There are Jews in need of security today. There are communities that could face a terrorist threat, an attack, today, that are unprepared. And it's a huge mission, and we don't have enough to do it. But I am afraid, I'll be very open, I'm afraid that many in today's generation have lost that sense of Kol Yisrael Arevim Zeh Bazeh. Used to be the Jewish Federation motto, we are one. I think we're seeing that elements deteriorate of that we are one. And that we need to strengthen this idea. I don't care if you're conservative, if you're Hasidic, if you're Reform. I don't care if you're homosexual or you're whatever it is, a Jew who is in trouble. It is our responsibility to help care for them. And the fact that, thanks to God's blessing, I've been able not just to bring in the Jewish community and myself, but the Christian community, which for 2,000 years they were our greatest enemies. And today, these evangelical Christians are our best friends, often our only friends. The needs for the security of the Jewish people in Israel and around the world are greater than ever before. And we, the Jewish community, together with the Christian community, need to rise for this occasion. As it says in the Megillat Esther, in the scroll of Esther, for such a time as this, maybe God has brought us into the world to make a difference in the lives of the Jewish people who are in need.